Bruce Deel, Trust First, a true story of transformation in Atlanta's toughest zip code. Get ready to delve into the inspiring story of Pastor Bruce Deel's journey of transforming lives in one of Atlanta's most challenged neighborhoods. In the book, Trust First, a true story of transformation in Atlanta's toughest zip code, you'll explore the power of trust and empathy he deployed in his efforts to combat poverty and adversity. Witness how Deel's city of refuge gradually became a one-stop shop for education, shelter, food, and medical care, all in his pursuit of offering holistic support to the people he served, and learn about the small yet significant steps made by the lives he touched.
Building trust in deprived communities. In the book, City of Refuge, the author tells the story of Pastor Bruce Deel, who arrived in an impoverished area of Atlanta to serve as a visiting pastor. While serving food, he had to intervene in a violent dispute which left him shaken. However, he realized that trust was the key to building relationships in the community. He returned with food and drink a few days later, and despite initial fear and suspicion, the community embraced him. The experience led to the founding of City of Refuge, an organization that continues to help needy communities to this day. Chronic opportunity injustice. A pastor's transformational insights on opportunity injustice. Pastor Deel's experience working with people on the West Side shifted his perception of social problems like poverty and alcoholism. He learned that the people he was working with suffered from chronic opportunity injustice, and their choices were compelled by their adverse circumstances. The neighborhood where they lived fell into disrepair, poverty increased, and access to good public education and health facilities became scarce. Pastor Deel's newfound knowledge made him realize that the opportunities he received from birth were privileges that many people lack. He had the advantage of a good education and enough to eat, while his congregants didn't have access to these basic necessities. It wasn't enough to lecture on morality and good choices, he had to address opportunity injustice head-on and change the material conditions of people's lives. Deel's insight about opportunity injustice is transformational. Rather than blaming the victims, he focuses on the root causes of social problems like poverty, violence, and addiction. His work with people on the West Side is a testament to his commitment to creating a fairer and more just society, where everyone has equal access to opportunities and resources. Living in the community. Deel and his wife, Rhonda, were committed to serving the West Side community. Realizing that it won't be enough to just drop in, they decided to leave their beautiful suburban home and move into an empty floor of the church in the community. This decision affected their relationship with the community and potential volunteers. Deel created a nonprofit to extend the church's activities, and they started hosting elaborate dinners, after-school programs for kids, and a homeless shelter. They also provided transitional housing for young mothers battling poverty, trauma, and addiction. Their decision to live alongside the people they served made them a significant part of the community. Beyond crisis management. After Deel's terrifying experience with a mentally ill homeless man named Michael, he realized his ministry was merely giving short-term support to people with chronic issues. He saw a fragmented system that failed to deliver comprehensive solutions to people's intersecting challenges. So, he decided to create a one-stop shop community center offering housing, job programs, and mental health care under one roof. This would require more funding and significant effort, but Deel and his team were ready to go further and create lasting change. From dream to reality. Deel's struggle to create a one-stop-shop NGO initially seemed impossible. However, after the Katrina tragedy gave City of Refuge a chance to show their ability to mobilize resources and volunteers, their ambitious plans didn't sound so crazy anymore. Deel had a grand dream of creating a one-stop-shop NGO where marginalized individuals could access multiple services in one place. He had finagled a donation of land worth $1.6 million, but the warehouse covered with leaks, trash, and rats needed towering expenses to be transformed into a beautiful refuge. However, donors thought his plans were too ambitious, advising him to focus on one thing rather than everything. Despite the difficulties, City of Refuge kept working, creating valuable projects for different groups of people but always with the same goal, a one-stop shop. Finally, Katrina's tragedy gave them the chance to prove themselves. They set up a resource center that served 3,500 people and a distribution center that helped hundreds of families. Within a few days, City of Refuge had demonstrated that they had the ability to quickly react to a crisis, mobilizing resources, and coordinating hundreds of volunteers to support thousands of people. Suddenly the dream of creating an ambitious NGO for marginalized individuals didn't sound so crazy anymore. City of Refuge, transforming lives. City of Refuge, led by Deel, began as a small nonprofit that aimed to serve Atlanta's destitute community in Georgia. Despite lurching from one crisis to another in its formative years, the organization's hard work eventually paid off, leading to unprecedented growth. An outpouring of support followed its newfound credibility, and collaboration offers poured in. Most significant was the mayor's office's $1.5 million funding proposal to solve the housing crisis, which enabled Deel's team to complete a state-of-the-art dining facility, 40 apartment units, and a childcare center within a year. This progress marked a turning point for the charity, and the team quickly responded to the city's request for more housing by completing Eden Village 2, providing shelter for 80 women, within 3 months. Over the years, Deel's team has created a full-service clinic, a private school, a vocational training program, and a special refuge for sex trafficking victims, supporting nearly 700 women through its trauma-informed care program. City of Refuge is now a one-stop shop for the destitute, as Deel would always have dreamt of. Embracing growth in small steps. City of Refuge's approach to helping transforms lives through harm reduction that supports individuals in specific ways they needed, celebrating growth in small steps that focus on the present rather than imposing expectations and judgments from above, and recognizing that transformation is not always about grand narratives of success and failure, but rather about the courage to take on life's challenges one step at a time. Despite having challenging cases, such as Vanessa, a formerly homeless woman with chronic health problems, and Rufus, a former addict who is unable to work, drive, or live independently, City of Refuge has helped them experience lives of dignity and satisfaction. Celebrating small steps. City of Refuge's director, Deel, learned that transformation wasn't about grand narratives of success and failure, but about celebrating the growth that can happen in small steps. They adopted a harm reduction model to support individuals in specific ways they needed, instead of imposing expectations. Deel celebrates every time a heroin addict in their program manages to stay sober another day or a traumatized woman makes eye contact over a meal. These kinds of transformations can't be summed up in a statistic, but they're stories of courage and growth, achieved step by onerous step.
As we reach the end of Pastor Deel's remarkable story, it becomes evident that transformation is about much more than just grand success stories. It's about recognizing the hidden growth within every small step taken, focusing on the present moment, and celebrating every ounce of progress, no matter how minute. By trusting people and providing them with the right support, Deel ultimately made a profound impact on thousands of lives, bearing testimony to the power of empathy, compassion, and persistence. True success isn't only about the big wins, it's about the daily choices made by individuals on their arduous path towards a better life.